Dade Phelan and the meme police. Let's get dialed in. Well, hello and welcome to Texas Talkin, the only show brave enough to ask, what kind of little man calls the cops over a meme? I'm your host, Shiloh Platts, political fire starter, meme defender, and proud wearer of the only cowboy hat to ever trigger an entire Capitol office. Now, tonight, buckle up, my fellow Texans, because we're diving straight into a story so ridiculous, it makes California look emotionally stable. It's the latest out of Austin, where former Texas House Speaker Dade Phelan, yes, the same Dade Phelan who kept Democrats in power like it's his love language, has apparently discovered the greatest threat to Texas government isn't fentanyl, isn't burdensome taxes, isn't even taxpayer-funded gender studies. No, according to Dade and his crack team of pearl clutchers, the greatest threat to democracy is memes. That's right, memes, cartoons. Not a Molotov cocktail, not Chinese wind farms or spy balloons, but memes taped to his office door. And now, in a move so absurd, it makes Orwell look like a motivational speaker, the Texas Department of Public Safety, the people we trust to fight cartels, are investigating conservative activist Tony Mesta for alleged involvement in posting memes on Dade's office door. Let me repeat that. A man is under investigation by the Texas version of the FBI for making fun of Dade Phelan on a piece of printed paper. Now, folks, I've seen a lot of things in Texas politics: bribery, corruption, people running for office who can't spell Constitution. But this is new. Dade Phelan isn't just thin-skinned, folks. He's got the political hide of a preteen on TikTok. And just when you thought it couldn't get dumber, Dade and his Democrat friends, along with the usual fake Republican suspects, passed a bill this session, no joke, making it a crime to use AI-generated images to make political memes without a disclosure. Which raises the obvious question: is it still a crime if the meme is true? Here's the reality. Dade Phelan has spent more time trying to censor memes than eliminating property taxes, banning corporate welfare, or preventing our adversaries from buying up Texas land. At this point, the only conservative thing about Phelan is his hairline, and even that's retreating under pressure. But let's be real. This isn't just about memes. It's about control. These people don't care about decorum or safety. They care about narrative management, about silencing the grassroots, about making it illegal to humiliate the people who deserve it the most. And here's the point to remember. They're losing. Because for every meme they try to ban, 10 more get posted. And they seem to be getting funnier. So stay with us, because up next we're talking to Tony Mesta himself, the man under investigation for an alleged meme assault. We've had enough of former Speaker Snowflake and are fighting back with the greatest weapon ever forged in the trenches of political warfare: humor. That's right, satire, sarcasm, Photoshop, and printed paper. This is Texas Talkin, where we don't arrest people for memes, we hand them the duct tape. Let's go. And joining me now is the subject of former Speaker Phelan's latest tantrum, conservative political activist Tony Mesta. Tony, welcome to Texas Talkin. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
So, Tony, when did you learn you were under investigation for political meme assault, and what happened?
Oh, I learned the day after the political meme assault. I learned it. I was just working, having my regular day, got a phone call from an investigator. A lot happened. I'll start at the beginning, really. Working in SRC, Student Rights Campaign, my department at Yale, I'm very focused on what legislation is going to affect student rights to be able to form the culture that we want to see on campus. My entire job is to make sure that political activists are trained to be able to fight against authoritarian rule, whether that be the left or right. Usually the left, sadly. We're very conservative, so a lot of the time, liberty doesn't really ring well with the left. So overall, my mission is to make sure these kids are doing good. And if there's a bill that is being put into anywhere, I usually get noticed very quickly so that we can take action, mobilize our activists, and put pressure on them. We found out about this meme bill a little late. We found out right when it passed the House. Apparently, it went through very quickly up to them. So from there, I was talking with a good friend of mine, Trenton Rippey, and we were just like, we got to do something about this. It already passed, but, we still have some time to maybe do something for the next chamber. So, we were really thinking, and we thought, well, it'd be really cool if someone just made a bunch of memes and just made it in his face somehow. And that turned into, well, I'm going to start generating pictures of Dave Phelan, being a, chicken jockey from Minecraft, like a robot or, some really ridiculous picture. Like I have him as a Lego in one of the memes. He's like a little Lego guy. Harmless ones. Some of them took a little bit of fun jabs at his forehead, which is a fun thing to club him with. It is ad hominem. I don't necessarily think that one was the smartest one, but it was funny. Most people found it funny. So, we made a good amount of memes. We found a bunch of memes off of Twitter as well. There's a lot of great memes out there that people have made. So all I did was really put them in Phelan's face.
Many of them.
Yeah. No, and they go really hard. They're really fun. And, it's really sad because, all those memes were about to get silenced, and hopefully they don't. So what we did is we thought, hey, you know what? Let's just print them all out, and we'll go and we'll hand it out to state reps and state senators, and we'll go and we'll see if we can get some time on the floor. So our great partners at Texas Policy Foundation, they actually, I think that is what they're called. I'm sorry if I misread that name. We just started working with them, and they offered for myself and a good amount of other activists to go out and, be recognized on the floor. And we thought that'd be really funny because if we were to hand the memes to all of these state reps and senators that hate this, what we're doing, and then they're forced to not only recognize us, but clap, we figured that would be awesome. Unfortunately, they got wind of us very quickly and they canceled our recognition very quickly.
Imagine that.
We were standing right outside the entrance to the House chambers for a while. And we were just handing memes to state reps that were going to walk in the door. We had quite a few entertaining interactions. Most of them very overwhelmingly positive, some very negative, obviously. A lot of state reps really loved it. They thought it was hilarious.
I can think of a few who have a good sense of humor who probably it was well received.
Exactly. And surprise, surprise, those are the more principled conservatives. Imagine that, right? Yeah. Free speech actually being a principle. So, I talked to these, the friendlier ones. They came up and asked for multiple memes. It was really cool. They made sure to hand it out to staff. Some of the chiefs of staff of the reps that we talked to came over and asked us about it and asked for memes. They loved it. And of course, there were some not so friendly reps. I don't know them by name, don't remember them very well, but I had a few. One of them, we handed him a meme. He said, oh, okay, this is what it is. He crumpled it up. And my good friend decided to say, oh, well, you want another one? And we handed him another meme. He crumpled up a picture. I remember very vividly. It was a picture of Dave Phelan as a spider. And then the following one was Dave Phelan as chicken jockey. And, it's like that's harmless stuff. He got very irate and he just crumpled it up, threw it on the floor. And, he crumpled up the second one.
How dare you?
How dare you express your free speech and your ability to make memes? From there, we had another rep that was very aggressive. He, yelled at us a little bit, called us immature, that we'd never read the bill. We had a few say that you haven't even read the bill. Actually, not only have we read the bill, I work in this, and I know when vague legislation passes, they enforce it with vague authority. And that's the problem with this bill is it's written so vaguely that they can weaponize it however they choose.
And the TEC is no stranger to weaponizing cases against the conservative grassroots. So to your point, that's important. People realize this. Go ahead.
Exactly. And, I stare at legislation for a living. Thankfully, my department was able to pass the Lake and Riley Act out in Tennessee.
Good for you.
And that protected all colleges from, banning any self-defense weapons. So, in Tennessee now, it's illegal for these colleges to ban pepper spray, ban tasers, pepper gel, stuff
as
like
well
that.
It should be.
Exactly. And sadly, it's sad that that legislation is even required. You'd be surprised, anyone that's listening that's in college, you'd be surprised if you look through your student handbook what you're not allowed to have. A lot of these colleges figure that you have police. You can call and they're going to come and save you. That doesn't happen. By the time they get there, the interaction's over. You should be able to defend yourself with a non-lethal weapon at minimum. So, that was huge. And so stuff like that, it really got me intimately involved with legislation. And so I started working closer with our grassroots arm, American Action Fund. And, over time, I've just become more familiar with it. I saw the bill, read it completely through, by the way, every single word, anyone that thinks I didn't read it. And I noticed, this is very vague. It's very vague on purpose because they want to selectively enforce what they want about it. And Dade spoke to Shelley Luther for a little bit on the floor, and he claimed that, but think of the tens of millions of dollars of state revenue that we're losing out on because we're not finding these people. If we find
what a great way to generate revenue by finding activist citizens for engaging in free speech. So you disseminate all these memes, right? You pass them all out.
Yep.
They wind up on Dade Phelan's Capitol office door. What happened next?
Well, before that, we actually visited every state rep that voted against it. We thanked them, and we visited every senator. They didn't like us very much. So after we were done, we took some pictures with everybody. We went over to the door, and we figured, all right, time to do it. And funny enough, the conservative activists that were with me mobbed the door so quickly that I couldn't fit in to put memes myself. So, at this point, technically, I didn't place memes. I led the charge to put the memes on, and I think that's what kind of kept me away from DPS so far. But
so you were not a meme placer, Tony. You were a meme insider.
Yeah, I'm inciting memes. Imagine that. I better not. I hope I didn't do it on January 6th. That'd be wild.
So they plaster them all over Dade's office door. Then you get a phone call from the Department of Public Safety, correct?
Yes, literally the next morning.
Walk us through that.
I woke up, I went to work, was just doing my regular day-to-day, was very excited about the stunt. I saw Twitter really blowing up on Brad Johnson's Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
So that was great, and I figured, all right, cool. They don't have to know. I don't need glory here. And I get that phone call, and I just, I pick up only because he called me twice. He called me, I didn't answer, and he called me again. And I figured, well, that seems important. I walked outside, and he goes, I'm from the Department of Public Safety. And I figured, maybe I parked my car wrong somewhere or something. I should at least see what he has to say. And I get out and I'm like, yeah, all right, sir, how can I help you? And he goes, were you at the Capitol on Friday? And I go, yeah, actually, I was at the Capitol. And then he from there, I knew this guy knows what I did. And from there, he goes, well, I'm calling about this meme business. And immediately my conservative libertarian brain goes, I can't talk to you. I need to talk to somebody to kind of understand where I go from here. So I said, hey, boss, I'm going to let you go. I'll call you back later. And I just ended the phone call, kind of regrouped, thought about what I'm going to say here. He eventually called me back just out of desperation that I wasn't calling him back. It only took maybe 30 minutes for him to call me back. So he calls me, I pick up the phone and he just asked me, so, about the Capitol, you were there with memes. And I go, yeah, I was expressing my First Amendment protected activity. And he goes, okay, we saw some people there with you. Do you know what they were doing? And I go, well, expressing First Amendment protected activity. And he goes, okay, well, it seems like you're probably not going to answer this one, but would you consider giving us the names of the other people? Because we found you, but we couldn't find your friends. And I go, nope, I'm definitely not doing that. They were engaging in First Amendment protected activity. So from there, he just kind of gave up on me. He said, well, all right, well, we're going to go forward with this from here. And depending on the results of what happens, we're going to see if there's damage to the door, really, how everyone feels about this. And if things get bad enough, we might trespass you from the Capitol. And upon hearing that, I was like, wow, okay, they're going to ban me from the Capitol for posting memes. That is insane.
That's where we're at.
Not something that's where we're at right now, is like, this is not something that should be happening in America. So, I talked with my bosses and we were like, all right, cool, let's split it wide open. We went ahead and I posted to all my socials. I went into every single post that was talking about it, and I championed that I did it, gave the proof of my selfie there, smiling with a thumb up in front of the door, and was like, yep, this is what actually happened. Dade Phelan or some other state rep that's probably loyal to him, someone that didn't like what we did, whoever it may be, sent the DPS after me. And I made that very public very quickly. Gained a good amount of steam on Facebook, more steam on Twitter, and a little bit on Instagram as well. But mostly Twitter was the one that was really popping off about it. And that's really where, if you follow the Texas Leash, that's really where it's going to be for people that care about it. And it was very nice. It was very overwhelmingly wholesome because a lot of people came to support me and said, this is awesome. This is hilarious. I can't believe Dave would do this. And that's what I wanted really, was for people to understand that these politicians, it's not about, the memes. It's about the power and the control they have over you.
Controlling the narrative.
Exactly. They expect you to submit to their authority. They expect you to give them some kind of respect that they don't deserve by showing you that respect. They don't act as human as they could. And there's great politicians out there. Like I love Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, Ron Paul, wonderful people that are out there. But, most of them are so obsessed with this power dynamic. And it was very clear that he wanted me to be in fear. He wanted me to be scared of him, that, look at me, I have a weapon of the DPS I'm going to use on you. And I didn't like that very much because, Yal, we focus ourselves around, we don't back down, we double down. So I did the same exact thing I always do.
Well, Tony,
and I made it very public.
We know that Dade Phelan is an extremely fragile little fella. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but he threatened to sue a local Southeast Texas mayor this past primary season because she said some things he didn't like. Now we have this, your incident. He has had cease and desist letters sent to Defend Texas Liberty, now I believe called Texans United for a Conservative Majority. So I bring this up to ask you, do you believe Phelan himself called the Department of Public Safety or someone in his office?
Well, you see, the big thing that makes me wonder about that is he posted on Twitter and he retweeted the exact tweet of the dorm, and he said, I know nothing about this. It's very immature. And funny enough, the comments kind of echo exactly what I'm about to say, is that it's really strange how you don't care, but you took enough time to address this and you posted about it. That's a little strange in my opinion. So, it's
a little contradictory.
Very, in my view, yeah, exactly. In my view, it's very likely that he did, but I don't want to say for sure because he does have lackeys that might decide to take it in their own hands.
Oh, he's got lackeys.
Exactly.
He's got plenty of lackeys.
I really don't know for sure who did it, but it's definitely for sure that, someone in there reported me. And the wildest part to me to this day is that I never said my name the entire time I was in there. Every senator, every state rep I talked to, we were friendly and I was happy and we were very great. Did not say my name ever, which makes me realize they had to have used facial recognition software, something out of this world usually, to find me. I'd assume maybe they looked at the cameras, saw what car I got into, followed it, whatever it they needed to do. They found me somehow through way too much effort for what happened. And that is really strange to me. Thankfully, my fellow activists, they're shielded right now. No one knows about them. So that's really great. And that's kind of the way I want to keep it, is if they want to attack me, come at me. I'm very glad to talk to you. I've called Speaker Phelan's office actually recently.
That's what I was going to ask you. So I suspect he'll watch this segment. So if you were able to look him eyeball to eyeball, what would you like to say to him? That's
an interesting question. So, I'm a very devout Catholic, so I'd like to primarily say, yeah, hey, that's good. Yeah, one true church. So, overall, I would like to start with saying that, just for the sake of, grace and integrity, that I probably went a little far with doing the forehead stuff. With that said, everything else is called for. You're a tyrant that is attacking free speech. Why do you feel it necessary to pull millions of dollars of revenue out of people making memes about a politician? Why is that so important to you right now? It seems very likely tied to your ego. And, I wouldn't even try to reason with him. I would more kind of confront him with what we're trying to say with the activism, just face to face. Because at the end of the day, it talks about in our teachings as Catholics that, ad hominem attacks, it's more wrath than it is realistically a confrontation or a just war.
Amen.
So, I did call his office recently and I said, hey, I extremely disagree with what overall you did. I hate this bill. It's a terrible bill. But that ad hominem stuff may be a little far. That's really all I would tell him. And I told him that in a voicemail. His staff did not answer my phone call. So I just left the voicemail. And if he's watching this, he knows that voicemail is in his voice inbox. And I told him, if you're free to call me back, I would love to talk to you more. I would love to know what your, like you said, fragile ego seems to justify this type of authoritarianism and attacking free speech. And, you know, all he does is he gives ammo to Democrats because Democrats look like the good guys here, that they're protecting free speech. And that's not great. It's not great for optics for the right. It's not great for him or for free speech, which is the most important thing. You know, free speech is vital. If we can't talk openly and we can't express ourselves openly, that's when the guns come out. That's when violence happens, because you're repressing people's ability to express themselves.
Absolutely.
And it's just terrible, terrible pipeline.
So drawing this to a close, Tony, are you still, do you know whether you're still under investigation by DPS? Is that a determination been made? Have they closed the case, the investigation? What do you know?
So far, I don't know anything. The guy hasn't reached back out to me. I haven't gotten any letters yet. From my understanding, if they were to close it, it would probably just be closed and this would happen. I still don't know yet, though, because at the end of the day, he said he was going to look into it further. What does that mean? I don't know. Who's he going to talk to? I don't know. So I'm still in a state of not knowing what's going on. I sure do not want to call him back and check.
No.
But I definitely, right now, I'm very happy to proudly champion that this happened, because if they do come after me and trespass me from the Capitol for memes, I would love to see that happen just for the pure extreme exposure that I could continue to do.
I'm
not
sure there are lawyers who would be
do.
very interested in taking up any kind of case involving this. So I did want to tell you, let us know. I'm sure I'll find out anyway, but let us know here at Texas Talkin' if charges are in fact filed, and we'll do what we can to help get your message out and provide whatever resources are available.
Oh, definitely. I really appreciate that. I have also had multiple other lawyers from Texas that don't really love Dade very much that have reached out as well. So I'm going to have quite the legal team if that happens, which, you know, I didn't want to say it, but you brought it up. You said it. That's exactly why I'd like for him to come after me, because I would love to stand at trial and tell them, hey, this guy's trying to come after me and trespass me from the Capitol, my right as a Texas citizen, because I made a meme about him. That would be the most insane court case that I could ever be part of. I would love to do that.
Well, Tony, I want to thank you for your activism, your involvement. I love seeing fired up young conservatives involved in Austin, taking the fight to them. So thanks for coming on tonight and spending a few minutes with us, sir.
Of course, boss. Thanks for having me on.
May God bless you, and may God continue to bless the great state of Texas. Thank you for helping us keep Texas talking.
Yes, sir.
Stay dialed in to interviews and content just like this by clicking that follow button on my Facebook page, or hit the subscribe button to learn more about exclusive access that you won't want to miss.